Over the years, history has been written and footballing folklore forged. Here we celebrate the heroics that make the difference between agony and ecstasy.
Osman!
From yesteryear to the present day, this is the greatest goals in the history of the FA Cup. This is the magic of the FA Cup. In 1972, high-flying Newcastle came crashing down to earth with a bullet of a shot from non-league Hereford United.
It's Radford! It's a stunning goal for Hereford United. One thought in Ronnie Radford's mind. Brilliant!
Alan Mullery, playing for Fulham in 1974, showing how to strike the perfect volley.
Mullery! An amazing goal! Alan Mullery with a volley that has broken Leicester's resistance.
Leeds United's Billy Bremner always seemed to save his best goals for the FA Cup. This is no exception. Picking up Paul Madeley's pass deep in midfield, Bremner producing a blockbuster to give the visitors Leeds the lead at Bristol City in the 5th round in 1974. Amid a thrilling 3-3 draw at Burnden Park in 1976, Malcolm MacDonald provided a moment to cherish for the travelling Geordies.
Craig's throw, and here is Superback at his very best. Malcolm MacDonald makes it 2-1 to Newcastle United. And it's Tommy Craig's throw. Malcolm MacDonald on his less favoured foot, a fabulous finish.
Derby County and Newcastle United battled out a pulsating quarter-final in the 1976 FA Cup at the baseball ground. Henry Newton produced the best goal. A drive from distance, giving the home side a 3-1 lead, illuminating an exciting match even further. The Rams would eventually go through with a 4-2 victory before semi-final defeat against Manchester United. Early in this game at Old Trafford, Brian Little silenced the Stretford end, conjuring up a stunning strike to give visitors Aston Villa hope of reaching the FA Cup semi-final. Little by name, the diminutive Villa star was anything but in terms of talent, and his reputation was growing for a club he would one day go back to manage. Sadly for him, this marvellous strike was a false dawn. United came back to win 2-1. Wrexham provided stubborn resistance to Newcastle United in the 4th round FA Cup tie in 1978. Ray Blackhall caught everyone by surprise, maybe even himself, with this effort. The fans at St James's Park didn't mind either way. It gave the home side a 2-1 advantage they thought would be enough. Though in the end, Wrexham would knock out the Magpies in a replay. Terry McDermott's strike was voted England's goal of the season in 1980.
McDermott. Oh! Terry McDermott pulls a real rabbit out of the hat for Liverpool. A little flick up to set up the volley, which was 10 out of 10.
Middlesbrough turned up at the Vetch Field in 1981 and proceeded to tear Swansea City apart. The pick of the goals, Terry Cochrane's spectacular overhead kick, putting Borough 4 up. Swansea at that time were a growing presence in the league, but their cup run failed at the first hurdle, suffering a 5-0 home drubbing. The FA Cup final replay of 1981 produced one of the competition's greatest matches, with goals to cherish.
McKenzie! Well, that's one of the great Wembley goals. A brilliant strike. The midfield player just lurking on the edge of the area and lurking with real intent. It flew in.
Having been substituted in the first match, Ricardo Villa turned his second chance into folklore.
Out of play, but he hasn't forced him out of harm's way, because here's Villa, and still Villa, and still Villa! Well, it's astonishing. The player who cut such a forlorn figure here when he was taken off in the first game could just have settled the second game with a superb solo goal. Ricky Villa's the name, and the name on the FA Cup could well be Tottenham Hotspur.
The late 70s and early 80s saw the emergence of Cyril Regis. Pace, power and goal-scoring finesse saw him give defences a hard time whenever he played. Norwich City were the suffering team here in this fifth-round tie in 1982. Regis with one of the goals of the season. A first-half strike, enough to see the Baggies through, keeping their cup run alive, and it almost took them to Wembley.
Galvin. Houghton taking over. Confronted by Bumstead. And this is Glenn Hoddle. Goal! Super move. And Tottenham's great artist strikes another splendid goal.
The match of the 90s now, and a great goal in an unforgettable tie.
Free kick's been taken. Here's Barnes. Brings it onto his right foot. Barnes! Oh, John Barnes! What a brilliant goal! Mouth-watering precision from John Barnes. In off the inside of the post. And Liverpool are back in front again. It's 4-3.
There are moments in football to savour, and this is one. Paul Gascoigne, having rushed through a hernia operation recovery, setting Tottenham on the path to one of their great victories in the 1991 semi-final against Arsenal. This was the first ever semi-final to be staged at Wembley. The charismatic Geordie stunning the Gunners as they were chasing the double, stealing the show with one of the finest free kicks the stadium had ever seen. In this Midlands derby in the fourth round of the Cup, Gary Parker with a spectacular effort to beat one of the great keepers. Nothing Peter Shilton could do about that. Parker running half the length of the field at the baseball ground to put the visitors 3-1 up in the first half. With the home side trailing 4-2 in the second half in the same game, Paul Williams managed to raise a smile from the fans with an acrobatic volley to beat Villa's keeper Les Sealing. Williams would go on to play for Southampton and Coventry, but this was his most successful season in goal-scoring terms. A gem here, one of 13 he netted in the course of Derby's League and Cup campaigns. 4-3 the result though, and the Rams' Cup run was at an end. Back to the Dell for this replay in a fifth-round tie between Southampton and Bolton Wanderers.
Still Horn goes on. It's Barry Horn. He's going to try a shot at goal, and what a shot! It's a fine finish from the Welshman. David Felgate will ask questions of himself, I'm sure, but it was a fizz of a shot. It swerved, it dipped, and Felgate couldn't keep it out.
Arsenal hero Ian Wright with an exquisite chip as the Londoners avoided a potential upset.
Well, this is the man that Yeovil can't contain, Ian Wright. Oh, and has he got Arsenal second? He has! Ian Wright demonstrates again that wonderful instinct for goal. An awkward bouncing ball, but in truth, Yeovil should have dealt with it. And just chipping the keeper with great nonchalance and great precision. And he's never happier than when he's scoring goals.
As a youngster, Julian Joachim was a favourite at Leicester City before he forged a career at Aston Villa. His ability to produce goals like this was one of the reasons that the Leicester fans were delighted to have the teenage forward in their ranks. This goal opened the scoring in a third-round replay. A solo effort, Joachim picking the ball up in his own half before letting loose with a beautiful curling shot into the roof of the net. This was a moment for the visitors to cherish on a night which ended in disappointment, Leicester going out on penalties. Given their cup tradition, Spurs had high hopes as they took on Wimbledon at home in this fifth-round tie.
Here's Darren Anderton. Barmby. Oh, yes! What an awkward cross for Barmby to deal with. It's 3-0 to Tottenham and we haven't yet reached half-time. But Nick Barmby dealing with that cross extremely well. He had to stoop and bend and somehow managed to steer it into the top corner.
There was great excitement as South Yorkshire decamped to Wembley with the two Sheffield clubs drawn in the FA Cup semi-final of 1992-93. Wednesday drawing first blood, Chris Waddle striking a spectacular curling free kick to beat United's keeper Alan Kelly. Waddle had recently joined the Owls from French club Olympique Marseille, and judged by this strike, it was a shrewd capture. Wednesday went on to win and would meet Arsenal in the final. When it comes to class on the pitch, any player would be hard-pressed to match the talent of Eric Cantona. In 5 seasons at Manchester United, the Frenchman scored 80 goals, some truly spectacular. This one was the opener in a fifth-round tie at Wimbledon. It looked like being a tough test for United, but they ran out comfortable 3-0 winners. Jamie Redknapp opened the scoring for Liverpool in this third-round replay against Birmingham City.
There's another probing move from Liverpool, featuring McManaman initially there. And it will come back for Redknapp, who will let fly. Oh, that's so unlucky for Bennett. All credit to Jamie Redknapp for having a dip from distance. But Bennett will look back at this one and see just how unfortunate he was. The ball came thumping back off the woodwork, and Ian Bennett could do nothing but help it back in over the line. And Liverpool lead here against Birmingham City, the goal for Redknapp.
Crystal Palace were an inconsistent team in the mid-90s, but showed quality when they beat Wolves in this sixth-round replay.
Oh, some of this Palace pressure is absolutely incessant. Picked up here by Pitcher. Darren Pitcher, what a try! It's in the top corner. Stowell helpless, and that is a lovely strike from Pitcher. The expression on Stowell's face tells a story. It was away from Mark Rankin, and back in it came first time from Pitcher. It's a rip-roaring first half at Molineux.
David Beckham illustrates why he is regarded as the master of the set piece.
Oh, Beckham lining it up. in his customary fashion here. And it is David Beckham. Oh, it's a terrific free kick from Beckham, and the lead is doubled. How does he do it? Bent into the corner of the Spurs goal, and David Beckham makes it Manchester United 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0, and that was delightful. Ian Walker was left leaden-footed almost.
A Dutch master producing sublime skill as Arsenal travelled to Sunderland in 1997.
Delightful touches around the edge of the area. Paul Merson, now Dennis Bergkamp. Oh, that's a lovely, sublime piece of skill from Bergkamp. Oh, and he finishes with an even better piece of skill. That's a fantastic team goal and a fabulous individual goal as well. Bergkamp, the touches here are just incredible, and the finish, well, the only word is sublime. Yet another Dutch masterpiece. Sunderland just could not contain him, and Dennis Bergkamp here has brought the house down. Fantastic goal.
Trevor Sinclair was brought to Queen's Park Rangers from the lower leagues by Jerry Francis, and in this fourth round tie in the Cup against Barnsley, he showed amazing athleticism and timing to convert surely one of the best overhead kicks seen in English football. Sinclair's goals over the years have tended to lean toward the spectacular, but not many players had the ability to score a goal of that calibre. In the twilight of Chris Waddle's playing days, he joined Bradford City to help them stave off relegation from the First Division. But what the club could not have expected was that Waddle would help them knock Premier League Everton out of the FA Cup. Feeding off a mistake by Andrei Kanchelskis, Waddle producing an amazing long-range chip to deceive Neville Southall, putting Bradford into a commanding 2-0 lead. They'd eventually win 3-2 at Goodison in one of the big cup upsets of that 97 campaign. Chesterfield had given Middlesbrough an almighty scare in their first meeting in the FA Cup semi-final that year, forcing a 3-3 draw, taking the Premier League side to a replay. Eventually, class told. The icing was put on the cake by Emerson. A volley worthy of his Brazilian teammate Juninho to seal a 3-0 victory, taking the Teessiders to a first ever FA Cup final. The man bought from Porto lit up the Riverside Stadium all season, providing a touch of steel to complement the instinctive Latin American flair. Roberto Di Matteo scored the fastest goal in an FA Cup final when Chelsea met Middlesbrough. 42 seconds the official record, and what a goal it was too. The Italian had a fine goal-scoring record throughout his career from midfield, but this one he'll remember for the rest of his life. Inspired by this start, Chelsea went on to lift the cup with a 2-0 victory. Many players find the art of volleying too much to master in the heat of a game. But if you're David Ginola, you have natural ability on your side. In the same game against Leeds, he'd twice gone close previously with efforts off the woodwork, but it was third time lucky for the Frenchman. A devastating finish, helping Tottenham into the FA Cup quarter-finals. For manager George Graham, a particularly sweet moment. Victory against the club he'd left earlier in the season, in controversial circumstances. In this sixth-round tie at Oakwell in 98-99, flamboyant Tottenham star David Ginola showed yet again the sublime skill that would mean he walked away with the Footballer of the Year award. Picking up possession far from the Barnsley goal, Ginola demonstrating the art of running with the ball to perfection, leaving defenders trailing in his wake en route to scoring the only goal of this game. Spurs were in the hunt for a cup double at this point. The League Cup final came the following weekend, and they were able to ease through the rest of this one to reach the last four in the FA Cup. For many Tottenham fans, this was the most memorable moment of the season. At 1-1 in extra time, Ryan Giggs scored one of the greatest goals the FA Cup has ever seen.
Which way will it swing now? It will take a brave man to make a bet. 1-1. Winterburn to Patrick Vieira. There's a loose pass straight to substitute Ryan Giggs. Setting off on one of those runs, still Giggs. Oh, look at this, Giggs, he might go all the way! He has! Oh, that is an incredible goal from Ryan Giggs! It has to be one of the best you will ever see in the English game. Alec Ferguson celebrating, and no wonder. Look at this from Giggs, setting off in his own half after Patrick Vieira had given it away. Only one thought in his mind, and he smacked it past David Seaman. It's a goal a million from Ryan Giggs. This is where he is at his most entrancing. How many defenders did he go past there? Still Seaman to beat. And he hit it really strongly into the roof of the net.
But Bacca's goal wasn't the only memorable moment in this encounter. The Italian striker Benito Carboni has always had an eye for the spectacular goal. This was one of his best. Carboni putting Villa right back into it at 2-2. It turned out a very good day for Villa. 3-2 winners in the end, and this goal a contender for goal of the season. Serhij Rebrov ultimately had a frustrating time in English football with Tottenham Hotspur, but in the sixth round of the 2001 FA Cup at West Ham United, the £11 million striker showed a glimpse of his old self, scoring a wonderful volley. The technique shown by the Ukrainian international here left fans wondering why they didn't see more of this sort of goal during his short Spurs career. Stuart Pearce, now a veteran defender playing for West Ham in the same game, delivered a powerful free-kick equaliser just before half-time. Spurs fans remembered a similar goal scored by this wonderful professional in the '91 Cup final for Nottingham Forest. But on both occasions, Tottenham would go on to win the game. Sunderland striker Kevin Phillips is no stranger to the goal-scorer's art. The 2001-02 season was, however, a relatively quiet one for him, with just 13 goals. The best, surely, at the Stadium of Light, in the third round against First Division West Bromwich Albion. Some fine acrobatics from the England striker, putting Sunderland one up, although they would eventually lose here by 2-1. Gianfranco Zola has apparently defied the ageing process with his spectacular performances for Chelsea, and as we've seen so often, he leaves his most mesmeric moments for the FA Cup. This cheeky back heel putting Chelsea 3 up against Norwich City in a third-round replay. The Stamford Bridge faithful left to marvel at yet another piece of magic from the little Italian. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank came up with his 20th goal of the season against West Ham United in the 4th round of the Cup.
This is Hasselbank. Oh! That is an unbelievable goal from Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. He had one look up there and there seemed to be nothing on. But with him, you can rule nothing out. Look at the bend on that beyond David James, who just stood and watched. Right foot, left foot, it's all the same to this fellow. His 20th goal of the season is a memorable one. Just teasing Soma, and then beyond David James into the corner.
Not unexpectedly, Arsenal did move up a gear and went on to win 5-2. It was the last goal of the afternoon, scored by Ray Parlour, which stood out most. Parlour doesn't score all that many, but when he does, they're usually pretty spectacular. A textbook volley by a fine all-round player. West Ham United were bottom of the Premier League when they met Manchester United in this 4th round tie. A goal from Ruud van Nistelrooy, the pick of 6.
Is Keane. Never ruffled, never hurried, Roy Keane. Very rarely gives it away. Van Nistelrooy. Oh, beautifully done, beautifully done. That is a super goal. And boys, he's scored a few down the years. Certainly since coming to Old Trafford. Constantly on the score sheet. And that's another one for the album. Veron for that defence-splitting pass. Green was caught out. Van Nistelrooy just adjusted his footing. And so coolly dispatched it into the corner. Beyond David James. Finishing at the very, very highest calibre from the Dutch international. 23 now for the season. 38 in the last campaign. He's well on the way to matching that. Yet again, West Ham too leaden-footed at the back. Breen and Pearce were all over the place. And fully punished and exposed by the clinical finishing of Ruud van Nistelrooy.
The Australian Harry Kewell against Crystal Palace in the 2003 FA Cup campaign.
Inside the last 20 minutes, Harry Kewell hasn't got much Leeds help, but he might not need it though. There's Kewell! A moment of sheer class, and it might yet settle this tie. They had kept him relatively quiet up until now. But that is a magnificent strike from Kuehl. No Leeds player with him, he didn't need anyone. Just fending off Mullins, taking on Powell, and what a delivery there. Beyond the stationary figure of Cedric Berthelin. That is a brilliant goal. Well, we saw how good he was in midweek against England, and he's reminded us yet again of his quality.
At the time, midfielder Michael Brown was a hugely influential player for Sheffield United, and he'd play a key role in helping them reach the semi-final of the competition in 2002-2003. This volley, one of 24 he scored that season, and the pick in a 4-3 victory over Ipswich in the 4th round. Gianfranco Zola was in his final season in English football and produced yet another moment of magic in a 4th round tie against Shrewsbury.
Petty, instant control. Gronchi are racing through the middle, so is Gianfranco Zola, who can settle it here, and surely has. Such a clever goal. Applauded by his manager. And admired by, I would think, just about everybody in this crowd. Claudio Ranieri calls him my little genius, and no wonder. Just sized up the options ahead of him. Saw the keeper off his line, and although he stretched here, he couldn't reach it, Ian Dunbavin. Only just getting his fingers to it, and it crept in behind him. He is a maestro with a football. 3-0 to Chelsea. And round 5 is now beckoning.
Tranmere Rovers had gained a reputation for giant killing, and they held Premier League Bolton Wanderers to a 1-1 draw in a 3rd round game in 2004. In the first minute of extra time, Ian Hume unleashed an unstoppable drive which proved to be the winner. Yet another scalp for the team from Merseyside. David Bentley was another young gun much talked about. This Bergkamp-esque goal saw him bursting onto the scene in January 2004.
Three minutes is going to be the stoppage time duration. It's Bentley. Oh, fantastic goal by the youngster. Arsenal have a real star in the making. David Bentley, remember his name. It's a chip which brings Highbury alight, and how he's deserved it. His tricks and flicks have been a real feature since he's come on as a sub, and this is a delightful goal. Well, it was almost Bergkamp-esque, this chip, wasn't it? Schulze would have needed a stepladder to reach this one, and this precocious talent David Bentley has added his signature to this Arsenal victory.
In his first season as a Manchester United player, Wayne Rooney was already proving his worth with this stunning goal against Middlesbrough.
In terms of possession, United shading it around 56% to 44%, according to our statisticians. Certainly be more dangerous. Zaha, Rooney! Oh! Ho, ho! magnificent. He is some player. Some player now. What's he going to be like in 3 or 4 years' time? If he continues at this rate. I think that look says it all. That is outstanding technique. And all this from that long clearance by Carroll, the knock-on from Zaha, and only one thought in his mind here, as it arrowed beyond Mark Schwarzer. You will not see a cleaner strike than that. Absolutely breathtaking from Wayne Rooney. Well, they've seen some goals at this ground down the years. That's up there with the pick of them. Stoppage time is almost up. Luton 3, Liverpool 4. Up comes Beresford. And why not at this stage? Head it clear. Underwood. It's a long way back for Beresford. Alonso's got goal. Is it going in? It is! Extraordinary. Xabi Alonso has secured Liverpool's place in round 4. Such quick thinking by him. Marlon Beresford and come up for the corner. There was no way back. And from inside his own half, a very accurate finish from Alonso. His second goal of the afternoon. 5-3 to Liverpool, but overall that is hard, very tough on Luton.
Paul Stalteri's first goal in English football was unforgettable.
Is Keane. Another promising opportunity. A stunning goal from Paul Stalteri. His first in English football, and it's given Tottenham a very comfortable lead going into half-time. What a strike from the Canadian. Didn't seem to be too much danger. Stalteri running onto Keane's pass and rifling it past Rab Douglas at his near post. Some goal.
Reading do have their first choice right winger Glenn Little on the bench, as well as 12-goal Kevin Doyle, who's been a revelation this season for them, the Irish striker. Oh, lovely bit of football, wasn't it? Harper inside, Lita equalises! Oh, terrific stuff! What a move and what a finish from the championship leaders. And Leroy Lita brings Reading back from the dead. 2-2. Well, the football here was electric. Harper into Lita, and there'd been some lovely interplay before that, involving Long and Harper and Murty. Finally, Lita, terrific goal.
There have been few more skillful modern English players than Joe Cole. This goal was his second and Chelsea's third in a 3-1 victory over Colchester in the 5th round at Stamford Bridge. The step over and long-range effort, further proof of his undoubted talent.
Drogba still lying on the ground. Joe Cole will maintain possession, and still Joe Cole. Chelsea through. Given a scare on the way, but a bit of daylight between themselves and their valiant lower league opposition in the end. And while Drogba was lying stricken, Cole picked the ball up just inside Colchester territory and made the most of the tired legs of his opponents to fire the goal of the game past Aidan Davison.
Kiki Musampa's storming volley, his first and only goal for Manchester City.
Now by Fletcher. John. It's kept going well. Still wants it. That's Croft. And then Musampa! And they have that lifeline. Remember Aston Villa, Villa Park in the last round. Kiki Musampa with an excellent strike here. No defender really got to him on the volley. And there was nothing that Shaka Hislop could do about that. Really clean strike from Musampa.
During his time at Liverpool, John Arne Riise demonstrated his powerful left-foot shooting on more than one occasion. This classic was the 5th goal in a 7-goal thrashing of Birmingham City in the 6th round at St Andrews.
Here's Finnan. They are in the mood. Riise! Boy, are they in the mood. That's a cracker. Venomous strike from John Arne Riise. He does pull those out from time to time. It's 5-0 to Liverpool, and even the Birmingham fans are admiring the quality of that strike. He hit it so fiercely. Didn't seem to be that much danger, in truth. Laid off by Gerrard, and then he let fly, and it fizzed past Mike Taylor. Second FA Cup goal of this campaign. And it was a typical venomous strike from the Norwegian. He has real power in that left boot.
David Nugent was rapidly making a name for himself in the Championship with Preston North End. This fine individual goal was his 6th in 8 starts, and his first for North End in the FA Cup. A goal that no doubt helped convince Steve McLaren he was good enough for international football. Nugent made a scoring debut for England against Andorra 2 months later. Chelsea youngster Scott Sinclair was sent on loan to Plymouth Argyle for a taste of first-team professional football. In only his 3rd game, he served notice of his talent with this fine individual effort. Wayne Rooney broke the deadlock in the 77th minute with a simple tap-in to put United in front. 6 minutes later, he put it beyond doubt with an outstanding volley. United are keeping it well. They've got it into Wayne Rooney. That's magnificent, unbelievable, and that is absolutely priceless from Wayne Rooney. It clinches Manchester United's place in the FA Cup 5th round, but it makes an ordinary game into a memorable one. How many players in world football could come up with that? David James blameless, not to be his FA Cup year. A rasping drive from Nigel Brake in a first-round tie, setting Horsham on the way to a 4-1 victory over Maidenhead. Horsham into the second round for the first time in their history. They forced their next opponent, Swansea, to a replay before succumbing 6-2 at the Liberty Stadium.
Now Capaldi does possess a long throw, as he's keen to show us here. Well, there was certainly danger in there. Still might be. Oh, yes! Joe Letley with an absolute cracker. A peach of a goal, and Cardiff take the lead. Just 8 minutes in. Wonderful technique. No wonder they rate him so highly. He's been out of the team through injury, but he's underlined there what he's capable of. On the volley, beyond Luke Steele, nothing he could do about that. Hit with unerring accuracy.
Everton faced a tricky tie in the third round at Macclesfield Town. It needed a moment of class from Leon Osman to separate the two sides. The victory was the start of a cup run, which would finish with a final appearance at Wembley.
Goal scored for Everton in the 53rd minute, number 21, Leo Costin.
Only a player of Frank Lampard's quality would attempt to shoot and ultimately succeed from such a distance. This blistering strike put the seal on a 3-1 victory over Ipswich in the fourth round. Chelsea would go on to reach the final against Everton. Carlos Tevez had found opportunities limited by the arrival of Dimitar Berbatov, and so he needed to prove his worth in FA Cup games. After putting United ahead in the 20th minute, Tevez went on to score his and United's second against Fulham with an excellent goal, all of his own making.